Well, hey there again, my friends, and welcome back to Carpo 719 Freedom Chats for the Soul. Beautiful 80-degree day here in the Portland area. Getting ready to get off my ass and take the kids down to the park or something. But first, I thought I would just sum up a few of my thoughts on a topic that's been in the back of my mind lately, which is, are things really getting worse? And why are people so miserable, or rather, why do people seem so miserable right now? And is the fact that we're seeing this more on the internet and it's so prevalent that people just shit post and argue amongst themselves through text and various social media apps, is this giving a false perspective of what people are really like, to the point where we've started to believe our own bullshit? If you're fed crap long enough and you believe it's true, that's just how it seems to go. If people are consistently told something through their life, when you're young, you're way more malleable, but at the same time, you're way more likely to believe what you're told because you don't have anything to compare it against. And if you've grown up with just the internet, I mean, this is, it's a time for self-reflection for everyone. But this isn't about the internet. This video is more about our emotional state and how we can cope with it. But I just, before this, made a video about how the internet's failing us, and I went through I guess, the different aspects of why I think the technology is abused and how, we're just being marketed to. But I ran out of space, so I never got to address the major issue of our own self control. It's like our inability to handle atomic weapons. We build one and we use it right away on a city. I mean, these are the kinds of things humans do. So even a hammer, which I use every day at work, can be used to harm people, or it can be used to build. Every tool has ups and downs. So there's no argument here that the internet is a bad thing. It can be a wonderful thing. But it's like giving a child a knife. We are the child as a society. We are not prepared to handle this. And the more I look into it and the more I look at human nature, the more I realize people never grow up, and I don't think we'll ever be able to handle it. Our emotional instability is part of what makes us human. The only way to have a society where everyone agrees to share just the truth and everyone is honest, that's a society that sounds pretty damn boring, if you ask me. Only because it would require a homogeneity of society that is far beyond anything we want. And we like our uniqueness, we like our egos, and that's, how it is. And I don't think we're going to fight past that. But I feel like right now is a crucial time for us to have some introspection and look at how we use our time online, but also in the types of communications we have with other people. But what is it doing to us mentally to just be so detached from people, in the sense that we're so interconnected more than ever before, yet loneliness is an epidemic that is consuming so many people more than ever before. We desire real human connection. Even just living in the same house with someone, even if you're in different rooms and you don't even talk during the day, just having them within your area is comforting. And if they're a person you love, of course. But even being away from them, even if you're on the phone 24 hours a day, it's not the same. It's this direct connection. The same way when you meet up with friends and family and you talk in person, you're like, why were we arguing about this through text? Or why do I assume that people feel a certain way when in person they're completely different people? It's very complicated, and there's no need to get into the psychology of why people do what they do. Really, what I'm trying to tackle here is, how do we lead better, more fulfilling lives without arguing amongst ourselves over petty shit? And can we improve the general attitude that we seem to have? It seems that people, it's not that there are many ways that society is improving, of course. You know, um, poverty, even though it appears to be on the increase, has been on the decrease overall for decades. Just like starvation and crime rates in the U.S., which were the highest in the early '90s, we've improved a lot, but we've started to slip back. And we're slipping back because we're not as interested in the real social issues that are important. We're more interested in which politician is running for office or who said what on Twitter. And we're being consumed with fodder when what we need is real information. We need real data. And then Google comes along and basically has the whole first page full of promoted garbage that says what, you know, other sites want to pay you to read. I mean, classrooms are starting to abandon Google in droves. Nobody trusts these sites anymore because they're not even providing the real information, and that is a big problem for people who are too lazy to do any real research. So they have this idea that there are all of these Nazis out there, or that every single school is, turning kids gay, whatever it might be. There are so many different, I mean, some of these things, there's a little bit of truth to them, but a lot of bullshit too. And to sort through it is too difficult, so most people would rather argue about it. And I'm seeing this kind of faux argument, this conflict, because things are too fucking easy, especially in America. And I'll say it this way: as somebody pointed out, I think it was a Rogan talking with Duncan Trussell, and they were saying, yeah, you remember after 9/11? They said anybody under 30 won't. They might remember it, but they won't remember what it was really like. That feeling of turning on the news and watching our two symbols of this country in New York be completely taken down by terrorists, whether they were trained by us or not. All the politics involved don't matter. The fact is, when it happened, Americans were, for the first time in a long time, connected on a level where thumbs up a big old muscle truck driving by, even if you're a hippie, right? Or, because he's got an American flag hanging off the back. That was actually something everyone did. We all hung American flags, hung them from our cars, our houses. We were like, God damn it, we're not going to be taken advantage of. We were on the same page for once. The same way that, say, when Katrina happened, sure, there was looting and there were problems, but they were way overstated. Most of the people helped each other. They stayed around and helped their neighbors. They didn't stop to ask if they voted red or blue. They didn't stop to ask if they were Christians or not. Human nature is to care and to help. But it appears that when we're left without any real conflict, we make some up. And this is our natural tendency to be obsessed with drama. Some people are way more into it. In fact, I was going to originally make a quick video earlier about kind of the update on my my no news year. So 6 months in now. About the beginning of this year, I said I'm just not going to watch any news that's about a person. Well, first I said no news at all, but that became very difficult. You see headlines, people talk about stories. So I decided to kind of hone it down over the next couple months, and then I said, all right, I'm not going to watch any news about people or politics. Nothing about elections, none of it. But if it's something that affects me locally, maybe weather, right? Or an accident that happened, or something that I could actually be affected by, I'll look into it. But then this sub-story comes around, this submarine that just imploded down there by the Titanic, and I thought it was the perfect example of a news story I couldn't avoid. My brother's like, oh, this thing trips me out, and I'm like, I really haven't looked into it, but it's like you have to, in order to, because it's like you can't look away, rubbernecking in a way, but really just to be informed enough on a topic that's interesting, and that's very subjective. Many people are very interested in politics, and that's their thing. But so 6 months in, I've done a great job, and I feel like my brain has been totally cleared of what's going on with politics. I don't know who's running for president. I don't care. I mean, of course, you can't avoid seeing the old Trump and Biden campaign things, but that if you use YouTube in any capacity whatsoever, you're bound to see some clip where somebody's making some outrageous statement about how the world's doomed because A or B took office, when in fact we need some bridge repairs over here. We got some roads that need the potholes filled. We have national transit problems. We have a failing infrastructure. We have wage issues and huge wage gaps. CEOs are earning 20 times what they were 20 years ago, and the average worker, their wage has stagnated since 1978. When adjusted for inflation, wage has stagnated for like 40 years. And what are we complaining about? The stupid shit we saw on the internet. And you think about all these different companies and agencies, and three-letter agencies, that have nothing to do but spend time on the internet, countless dollars, countless access to technology in every country, hordes of people, millions of people behind computers that have endless time to go out, make fake accounts, post a bunch of nonsense, and create havoc and chaos. This is how the U.S. has created most of its coups in other countries in a different way in the past, by going in and funding rebel groups, spreading disinformation, all these stories that come out about the corruption of the past through the military, through the government, through the way they advertise cigarettes. More doctors smoke Camels, that kind of shit. It was all well known it was BS, but the public didn't know. And now we're moved on to a different time where all the same BS is still out there, and people are still believing it. And it's because we don't trust each other. If somebody says, hey, I'm gonna, this medicine helps me, there's always another person to say, no, I want a natural cure, and they're willing to drink some kind of weird concoction that some off-the-wall doctor told them to, because it's naturopathic, And then, on the other hand, there are people who will totally ignore anything natural that may help them and only go for the pharmaceuticals. And it's because of our trust issues. We have trust issues with each other and with society, and we need to get past that. And the only way to get past it is by being honest with one another as much as possible. So I'll tell you this, honesty, in my opinion, really is the best policy for all people. But I know that's never going to come to fruition to where everyone will be honest. There are unscrupulous, scumbag men that will take your last dollar and not care. They won't even bat an eye at it. But we can't let those people affect the rest of us who do give a shit. So I think that you can be a shitball and take advantage of people, and you will get noticed and you will get rich, but ultimately we all have to go to bed and sleep at night. And I'd rather live a peaceful life, try to be kind to all people. I don't care if you're religious or not. I don't care if you're political or not. I just want to have normal conversations with normal people, and because this life goes by fast. And if we're constantly stuck in our dogma, it goes nowhere. It never has and it never will. It doesn't protect us against anything. It just insulates us from actually having to argue our own points. So those are my thoughts for the day. I think that the internet really is an amazing tool. I won't dispute that it's abused, but I also won't dispute that it's really helped me to understand people better. And so I guess it's about how we use that tool. And I don't think things are as bad as we believe they are. I think cities are going to decline. A lot of big cities, because I'm arguing. I'm like playing the devil's advocate here. I was talking with my buddy yesterday, and I said Portland's pretty much fucked. Businesses are leaving in droves, and he said, "Oh, it'll get back. It'll bounce back." And I said, "I honestly don't know. It's hard to see that, because until the politics change, nothing changes." And that gets into this whole discussion about tough love and the homeless problem and the drug problem and all these issues we have in society, that people are pointing fingers at others instead of saying, how do we fix this? So, love thy neighbor. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, hit subscribe. If you're old to the channel, hit the like button if you liked it, and all that shit. And if you want to support the channel, you can visit me on Patreon. And I'll see you all on the next installment of whatever the fuck this shit is.